Jeff in the tailgate asks if this is the craziest day in college football ever. I'm
Probably
hoping
not.
I'm hoping that
2007 probably had something close, but this
Yeah.
is
I'm hoping that the research department is going to be able to give us the full rundown of stats. We're still raw. We're still raw and live right now. I mean, Tennessee literally just finished it. Like Nico just showed some horrible decision making at the very end. Um, Tom, can we grade Nico Iamaleava on the
Bad.
performance? Okay, bad. There we go.
It was
Performance
it
as
was
a
it
whole,
was
not
it was
great.
simply unimpressive, and then he ran out of bounds on 4th down, and it went straight to bad. Bad performance, bad performance by Tennessee as a whole. Like,
Yeah.
Arkansas, all credit to them. They won the game. They did the thing they always do where they just made it ugly and nasty as hell, but instead of losing close in the end like they're supposed to, they actually pulled off the upset and won it. But I don't know, man. Like Tennessee, they got off to a really, really good start. And the offense, for whatever reason, I think in the run game, that offensive line has, like, when it was happening against Oklahoma, I was like, okay, fine. Oklahoma's got a good defense. No shade to Arkansas, who doesn't have a terrible defense, but the fact that they couldn't really block in the run game against Arkansas, especially in the first half, when they just kind of ran inside zone over and over and over and over and over again, not going anywhere. That was a problem. Nico looking every bit the kind of freshman he is at times because he's making some poor decisions. But I also think in the first half, particularly, I do think they were a bit too conservative on offense.
Mm.
Like, I understand you're on the road, you've got a young QB, and maybe you're thinking, I don't want them to make any mistakes. They're going to put me in a bad spot, especially because Arkansas had been moving the ball pretty well on you. It's just they couldn't finish drives and get points on the board. But I do think you needed to kind of rely on him a little more in the first half.
I agree with that. Like, so if you look at what Tennessee did, I mean, they were getting favorable run looks and then not blocking those looks.
Mhm.
Like that is kind of what that offense is. Like you are making a quick assessment at tempo for the most part against what should be a simplified box. And Arkansas did a good job of muddying the picture at times. And like part of that's just kind of paper, rock, scissors, right? Okay. Like Arkansas is showing one thing, they're going to check to something else. Does Tennessee correctly guess what the check's going to be? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But repeatedly, like Arkansas was more physical than Tennessee. It felt like Arkansas had a different level of energy, which we talked about this a little bit on the preview. Some of these teams playing their 6th game in a row against a team coming off a bye.
Mm.
Well, that was the opposite. Okay. Like that was Tennessee coming off bye. Like
Right.
they should have been the ones you would think that would be fresher, that would have more energy. But I don't know if they're like reading their own press clippings or something like that. But Arkansas brought it to them tonight. And Arkansas really had not played that well the last 2 weeks. You know, like they got Auburn's backup for what, at least a half, right? I'm trying to call here, and got like a million turnovers in that game. And then, you know, like we had said on the show, coaches who have had to scout A&M said Reed missed just didn't see a bunch of wide open guys against Arkansas. And like, that's why they thought there was a real chance they'd go back to Wegman. Well, tonight, maybe Nico missed a bunch of wide open guys I didn't see, but up until the point where he had that kind of desperation heave on Herb Street described it as the Mahomes play, his long pass of the night was 17 up until that 42-yard, you know,
A
kind of
long completion.
Yes.
Yeah, because
correct.
he also like airmailed a couple of like deep
Yeah.
shots that were not even like you didn't even feel like you were giving your guy a chance.
Totally. And a couple of them were open, you know. Like Squirrel White, 10 targets, 38 yards. That's really bad. I'm not saying that's on White or Nico necessarily. I think it's kind of more on Nico tonight. Like he didn't have the turnovers, but the
A lot of
completion.
Dinkin and Duncan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The inability to run after catch was huge too.
Yep. Offensive, it is one of
Could have been worse, by the way.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
'Cause Arkansas was
The way this
terrible.
played out, yeah, like Tennessee's kind of lucky they did not like get seriously down in this game. Like their defense bowed up. Arkansas was moving on them really well in the first half and holding the ball, and like Tennessee's defense kept them in this game in the red zone, like by bowing up in the red zone. That was surprising.
Yeah, Arkansas had 5 red zone possessions, got 19 points. Like,
Not great.
that could have been a blowout. You made that game a lot more difficult on yourself than it had to be.
Yeah.
That's kind of just what Arkansas does, though.
Man, I think that Like Arkansas left Tennessee so much room to win the game and escape. Because I mean, at what point were you really starting to roll into like, okay, Tennessee's going to lose?
Really, never until
Arkansas scored at the end. Yeah.
Until the big running back, yeah, because especially not when Taylor Green got hurt.
Right.
I was like, okay, like Taylor Green's been kind of magic. They haven't actually punched it in the end zone, which has been an issue, but ultimately, like he has played pretty well. I think some of those deep balls Taylor Green threw tonight were exceptionally well covered and just great balls. He just put them in a bucket. That was, you just kind of got, man. Like Arkansas's defense played their ass off, and the quarterback played really, really well. And it probably says something about how talented of a team you are that all that happens and you lose the ball game by 5. But you did. And they played really well. But I don't know, like to your question, when did I think they were going to lose it? Probably when, so they have, I don't know what yard line are they at? Like the 22?
30. I was going to say when they were down 14-13, but they had gotten the ball into scoring range and it was like places going nuts. Offense has a bunch of juice. Like I had not seen anything from Tennessee that was like, oh yeah, I'm sure that based on everything I've seen from them, they are ready to go and march right down the field. And they almost did, but I
was thinking even later. I was thinking when Nico took like 7 seconds to throw the one ball, and I was like, oh, they only have one play left probably instead of 2. I thought where they were at, I think it was what, 17 and a timeout. Like they're going to get 3 shots at this. And they only ended up with 2 shots. When he took so long on the first of those, what I was assuming was 3 plays, that was sort of like, oh, they're probably in trouble here.
Should we just stay in the most overrated conference in America and talk about
no, it's the deepest conference now, Chip.
Oh, it's the deepest conference now.
Yeah.
That's right.
The team that lost to Oklahoma State beat the number 4 team in the country. It's deep as hell.